Hi, my name's Trey, and you're watching Trey's Myths and Tunes and Trey's Timeless 15 on YouTube and Odyssey. And today I'm going to talk about why we have to deal with the inherent joy of torture is anti-life. You got to trust in your instincts. That's how you learn to trust in yourself. You got to throw out what the fallen ones think. That's how you realize you're way out of hell in their lies. You got to respect the Christ within you. Can't you see? You got to trust in your instincts. That's how you learn to trust in yourself. As long as you obey this hell, you're all mixed up. Don't know what to do. Turn around trying to find a person that's you. Every time you obey the fallen system, you just go insane again that day. Whoop-boom. The inherent joy of torture is anti-life, actually. And the inherent joy of apathy is fake. Okay, ever since the days of the Snake Brotherhood in Atlantis, we've had the reptilians, the Anunnaki, infiltration, hybridization. And, of course, as I've said before, in the Council of Nicaea in 325, they officially moved into the Roman Catholic Church and implemented their anti-life ways. The idea that torture or killing someone who's not a Christian, or in modern day blackballing, abusing, telling someone they're insane or they don't exist, etc. But all the way from, I would include everything from killing to ignoring to blackballing to every form of disrespect, every form of abuse, every form of torture where the person, whether through narcissistic parasite entities, which I call NPEs, or other issues, if the individual or the group seems to feel a sense of joy inherently in this torture of whatever sort, it is not human. It is against human life, anti-human life, inherently. And that's the problem we have, is that we have this in our subconscious very often, wired in, this anti-human inherent joy of torture. Very, very reptilian. Have you ever felt or remember this feeling anytime? It's a feeling that's 0% respectful. Think about Catholic priests, the pedophiles, homosexual pedophile Catholic priest, the sick joy of the inverted Luciferian, the Bruce Jenners, the highest ritual, the acceptance of the sex change operation, how the mainstream media forces you, or your job or your school, all three forcing you to accept this indoctrination into that it's acceptable. Even as I wrote in the notes of a video a few days ago, to have to witness a really good natured person go through this and accept that, and I have to accept it, and I can't say anything to them directly. It's intense. Okay, so it's extreme. Um, Having a after school daycare transgender after school daycare and all that. It's extreme. So what they it's been proven through many researchers, scientists, and metaphysicians that they figured out in the MK program how to reverse the pleasure. The Luciferians, the Snake Brotherhood, the Illuminati, death cults, Project Monarch. They learned how to reverse the pleasure and pain center in the brain, and so that's how all these people think that all this horrible stuff they do to themselves and others is what they want, because their mind control is so extensive that they figured out how to reverse those centers in the brain. I mean, it's pretty wild, but it's actually the case. Um, of course, it starts in childhood, But I remember when I'd been in Santa Cruz a few years. One year on Halloween, I got whipped twice by two different attractive women throughout that one Halloween, and I enjoyed it. And that's about as far as I've ever gone. And once at a What Is Erotic show at the 418 Project, I got lightly whipped. And that's about as far into BDSM as I've ever gone. And by the way, that is the whole prevalence or like the tendency of BDSM, butt plugs, all these things, the violence you could find in pornography online. All of these things are really, really blatant examples of this sick, disgusting, sheer joy of torture that comes from the anti-life, the antichrist, and the anti-verse. And you don't have to be that way if you have respect for your soul, but it'll take some changing in your minds with some of you to get out of it. Any kind of child abuse, from mental abuse, verbal abuse, to raping, beating your kids, all of that can program the little kid, I should say the child, because a child is not a baby goat, but a baby child, human, to think they want abuse. Okay, the idea that in the state of California, if one parent, wherever they live in all 50 states, if one parent approves of them taking hormone blockers, they could come to the state of California and find a doctor who will do that. It's pretty sick. So you have to realize how inverted all this stuff is. Look at the childhood cartoons. When I was a child, we had Ren and Stimpy, but it's much worse now. If you observe the child's average cartoons are conditioning children to violence, sadomasochistic, extreme torture, and so forth, right in the cartoons. And of course, the Illuminati, the Satanists, who run the media networks, who are, incidentally, as Dan Willis has said, it's gone from something like, I think, 150 or 100. I don't know exactly how many when I was a child, to 6 networks now. So and they have a much tighter grip of their mind control scams. They put sick people in the childhood, in the cartoon programs, the sickest ones they can find. And I like to watch this show from the year I was born called What's Happening, a black sitcom. And it seems like an innocent old show and lovely, endearing old TV show, right? But the verbal abuse, the subtle, torturous verbal abuse, even in the 1970s, of course, they'd already begun those programs. SpongeBob SquarePants is an example of what they want those of you who have empathy to be like, Um, so they program you to think mild verbal torture is cute, acceptable. The worst example, of course, is Disney. The teaching teenage girls to be wicked black witches and to be adorably good looking and use that to manipulate and do black magic is cute. It's a sickness. It's just sick to expose your children to this kind of programming. And not only do they get the nasty princess program, most of them get that from a young age. They also get this idea that being a black witch is cute. cool to girls. Sadism, the word sadism has the word sad in it, right? Because that's what sadism is. It's sad. It's just sad. Notice the feeling, recognize it's wrong, okay? Every time you feel the inherent joy of torturing someone at all, even a mild amount, even a tiny amount, especially of killing or raping someone or mental or verbal abuse, realize how pathetic you are. Realize how sad it is. Realize how sick and wrong it is. Acceptance of the golden rule in Lakesh. If you don't realize the golden rule is the only rule around the gold you must obey, then you're just mistaken. Choosing to respect everyone is an imperative in the awakening into 5D. If you can't do that, you're going to be lost. You're going to lose it. Choosing to respect everyone as much as possible, nonviolent defense. You have to acknowledge the mental and verbal abuse, subtle psychic abuse before you're even going to be able to heal it. Okay, belittlements, acceptance of BDSM, acceptance of sexual violence and porn. It's very demonic, and you have to realize you're accepting something very demonic. Okay, tantric and Taoist practice, respecting sex as divine is one of the keys, and it's the best in a heterosexual monogamy, or else it's going to really end up sucking. Compared, the energy's not going to work right unless you're totally in love. The joy of helping, expanding others' awareness is the real pure joy. Okay, when you can help others, like I'm attempting to do right now, and it works, then you feel the real inherent pure joy of the original human life, the divine light and love in the 3D. You can actually bring into your 3D day, your normal slave or your normal day, the light and love of expanding the awareness, this beautiful, amazing gift of life. If you flip the sick reptilian impulse and get your joy through helping, through service, in a harmless, respectful way, with equanimity, ideally. Learning equanimity is such a powerful key that most of us still have to work on. Really, torture, any sort of torture, whether it's subtle or overt or loud or quiet, is pure illness in every way. When you think about it, feeds all the physical illness eventually, and you have to learn to reject it and replace the idea that you want that with the idea that you want respect, grace, true joy, peace, health, and health will result when you realize you inherently want to respect, to serve others with a relaxed, kind energy, with no hurry, and not give them a hand out, not become a codependent. Treat them as an equal friend or equal partner, an equal lover, an equal sharer in this beautiful adventure when you're awake of living in a human fleshy suit in 3D reality with your free will in the fifth dimension. Remembering this ability, remembering that you can do that is such a powerful tool. But yes, ever since the days, that like Harold Core's study, he said he found that Hitler, they put the black goo on their rings, and so these negative aliens had extreme uses of uh, creating this many different ways of technologies, physical and hologramic, physical and hologramic, creating this supposed inherent joy of torture within the human race, again through hybridization. The MJ12 victims, and the CIA invention of the word conspiracy theorist to deter those who were questioning what happened with Kennedy, when 11 days after he sent a memo to Alan Dulles, the head of the CIA, saying, "I'm just going to tell the public what this is about," he was shot. And so that again, through the killing of many of our heroes,